Well, I kind of felt like I should start today with like a funeral march music or something, like somebody walk into the gallows just to try and cut through the
Morning all, morning all. Yep, I
yeah.
know, man. That's how it feels. That's how it is. And yeah, man.
So if you're brand new to crypto, that's called a cock punch. If you've been in crypto for a while, you may have been cock punched before. It doesn't matter whether you're new or old, a cock punch hurts.
Yeah, but this cock punch, man, is one of the roughest ones I have experienced. Even though I went through the FTX shit, and uh, this is I'm gonna explain why this
Mm.
one I felt it like with FTX, right? FTX went down, shit, you have no control over it, right? Like this one of those things. This one, even though you risk managed, you're fucked. I'll tell you what happened in Hyperliquid and Binance and Bybit. A lot of stops didn't actually get triggered. Therefore, accounts were liquidated, right? So this I'm still have one account that is so good, but a lot of things happen that is don't supposed to happen in the first place. You know what I mean? So that's the first implication, huge implication in crypto, huge because
Mm.
this type of stuff should not happen with brokers. Should not like this is the first thing that is going to hurt crypto in the next couple of weeks at least. I will say because finance guys or people that are actually traders, if you trade it on a regular exchange, this shouldn't happen in terms of stop losses, accounts not triggering. You know what I mean? So obviously, yeah, we'll go through it, but then that's
Mhm.
kind of my first thought in terms of um
So you're saying that we had an extreme event, and during that
mhm,
extreme event, the exchanges that promised that they would do A if we did B failed to do their part completely. So now
exactly,
whatever trust that we had in them to save us during an extreme event is now gone.
exactly, exactly. And obviously that's part of the game in a way, right? You expect slippages and stop losses because what is a stop loss? A stop loss is a market order technically, but it has a trigger. So that order is not in the market yet until it hits the trigger that you sent. So obviously with a stop order,
Mhm.
once the system detects the stop, it sort of uh sells at market, right? Due to the severity of this thing, man, a lot of the stop losses got run out. Like they didn't have time to trigger, right? Therefore, a lot of the stuff keep going down, and then margin goes against you, and then the now the what is it? The liquidation engine kicks in, and it gets liquidated, right?
Mhm.
So that's part of something, right? That
Let's just do all the little technical steps then. So you've got your order on, and then
yep,
you've got your stop loss.
yep.
Now your stop loss at this point, before it's triggered, is it in the order book, or
No, it's not.
does the triggering put it in the order book, and then the
Exactly.
market maker then buys it off of you at market?
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's how a stop loss looks like. You know what I mean? Because obviously you cannot actually put a limit order or a market at unless you do a hedge. You know what I mean? That will be another
One long, one
strategy.
short.
Yeah, exactly. That will be another strategy. Because that will be filled because it's in the order book. You know what I mean? So that's
Mhm.
part of something that I'm looking at in terms of next
Right.
time. Like what things can I and this is it, guys, in terms of mindset or trading or whatever. Like, all right, one went wrong, how we can protect ourselves and how do you deal with it? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I think crypto is going to stay. I think we everybody took a big hit. I know some market makers that dump all their stock. So there's a huge implication. This is not the regular buy deep shit, man.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna go through my analysis why. So that's why I took I'm taking it slow, very slow. But that doesn't mean that everything is over. I think there's a lot of opportunities right now, but we need to shift our mindset a little bit in terms of long-term stuff. I think long-term stuff is going to be very tricky to get position on, or at least you need to, whipsaw the fucking volatility is coming. But there's going to be a lot of great opportunities. Like just yesterday, everything went up 40, 30%,
Everything is green today, Ethereum's back where it was.
But let me tell you the implications of that. And is that going to continue? Is that no? We'll go through the charts and everything. But first of all, obviously, guys, if you were liquidated, I actually got liquidated in one account. It sucks, man. It doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like my spot portfolio still looks okay. But that's the difference between leverage, and I've been sort of saying all along in terms of risk management, position management, how much you should put on every trade and things like that. But still, even though with the risk management, this is one of the situations that has never happened before in crypto, right? Ever. This is the first time. Like FTX, it was the first time. This is the first time that this event happened. Therefore, it's significant, very significant. Okay. How do we read about it? How we're gonna go about it? I don't know. We're gonna go through the possibilities, and as I'm going through, because I started preparing, this morning, yesterday, I really shut down my computer, didn't do anything, didn't even look at the charts, I didn't want to fucking know anything. But now, come back, we'll create plans, and I think it's gonna be very good, man. I think it's going to be very positive. This is the time that it doesn't happen quite often. That is no leverage in the system. Everything got wiped out. Everything. Okay, that's the positive side of things, right? Everything on leverage, even people that had 1.5 leverage, which is nothing, got wiped out. Okay. So this is a very interesting time to either start reading the market, because the new leverage that comes in is how we go about it, right? Like that's kind of either longs or shorts or whatever. This is a really good time to be trading, but I think trading is going to become a little bit more short time than long term, from that perspective. At least for the next couple of weeks, it's gonna. I'll tell you why and everything, but that's kind of it. That's kind of in at the beginning, what I felt, and obviously, guys, if you did get wiped out, I'm with you. I know how it feels. This is part of the game. If you haven't experienced this before, I think the first time that I got wiped out, I was devastated. But that was long back when I was trading Forex, and it didn't feel right. But then obviously you start building tough skin to handle these situations, because this is not going to be the first time it's going to happen, man, or the second or the third or the fourth. Shit like this is going to continue to happen, especially in crypto, even on regular markets, man. When the Japan last time was when Japan, remember the Japan interest, when Japan actually liquidated a bunch of stuff, and that was actually brutal as well. So you just have to learn how to deal with these things, guys. And unfortunately, it is what it is. Cannot change it. We just have to take advantage now of what is presented to us. So we'll go through a few ideas and things that I have. Obviously, I'm going to take it really slow, and
yes, I'm looking forward to the open interest matrix that you go through. I was having a much deeper dive on that last week, and I thought, well, these liquidations, they're quite easy to spot when they look like that. But
unfortunately,
I just got a couple of quick things, Maurizio.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And we'll hand over to you. So Todd Main's got a really good point, right? And I know that Todd got double cock punched on leverage. And he says everybody needs to understand that this is not trading crypto is still the Wild West, and you have to learn to roll with it. Okay. If you look at the upcoming airdrop for Trend Token, and you see in the white paper that Scott and the team are in a 2-year vesting period. And if you go back through Scott's FAQ videos, Scott will say to you, if you give me the opportunity to fuck you, I will prison rape you. That's why we're on that 2-year vesting, so that we can't fuck you, right? But other people can fuck you, and they will fuck you. And if I could fuck you for $1 billion, I would fuck you right now for $1 billion, and I wouldn't give a fuck, right? So it happens. And it tends to then get sucked into political allegiances, right? And name calling, and it descends into that. Yes, they probably did it. They're probably going to do it again, right? But there's things that you can do in crypto now that the current government has made possible that you couldn't do before. So it's one of those things. I'm not defending anybody. I'm just building off of what Todd says. You have to realize this industry is still unregulated. It's still brand new. It's as high a fucking risk as you get because the rewards
are massive.
are massive. They are massive.
Exactly.
They are completely out of control, you know. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have some sympathy for people that got wiped out, but my sympathy only goes so far. This is a game, right? We've had a reset now. This could be the zesty sauce that gets this market going, because this market has been boring fuck for months. Now everything
nothing boring about Friday, man. Let me
there's nothing boring about Friday, but before that, fuck me. You know, boom, we got a reset and we're off. Some market participants, they've had the throat cut, they're bleeding, they're gone, you know. And it's like I was saying to you before we started the call, Maurizio, you can have 364 days of talking about mindset, and then there's one day of the year that you actually need it. And that's the day that you have to be able to say to yourself, it doesn't matter how hard you get hit, it matters about getting back up again. And you might think, oh, but this is the fucking truth of it. It's like if you take a long, you are taking money off of somebody that's taken a short. Everybody that comes to the computer to trade is looking to take money off of the other person. I'm right, you're wrong. It's a zero-sum game. And it's ruthless. And if you play with money that you don't got, or you play with it's too big, you can't handle things emotionally, go a bit smaller. Learn a lesson. Pick yourself up. Go at it a bit smaller. Start thinking that crypto's an infinite game rather than an overnight game. Yeah. But a cock punch is a cock punch.
Perfectly said, man. And it is a big hit. A lot of people got it. Like even people that got actually protected by stop losses, it got wrecked. You know what I mean? Like
that's
the bit that hurts a lot, man. Like I got one account that got liquidated even with the stop losses, and then what the fuck? You know what I mean? So a lot of people is feeling that way, especially big traders, especially market makers. You know, because the system didn't support this type of hit. So let me start with this, because obviously this is, in my perspective, I could be completely fucking wrong on what I'm going to say, right? But in my perspective, right, and I've been talking about this this morning with traders that I know and respect, and they all got hit. One of them got liquidated, right? And he doesn't do a lot of leverage, man, and he got liquidated, all right? So what that means is the systems in place for crypto, right? They're still fragile, very fragile. Okay. And a lot of people got hit. There's not a lot of liquidity coming through right now, right? Thinking from that perspective, market makers, I know a market maker that dump all their stock because guy got liquidated. And that's not because they didn't do their job. That's because the systems, Hyperliquid, Binance, Bybit, I'm talking about the big exchanges. I don't even know about Kraken or the small, low liquidity stuff. I don't even know. But if these big ones didn't actually, support the current infrastructure, then there is a lot of ifs from the time being. You know what I mean? Like if I put a stop loss, is that going to be respected? Which is the essence of trading, right? That's your protection. That's your last resort for risk management, right? So a lot of people feel the same way, and it feels like, fuck, is this going to happen again? You know what I mean? So obviously there is a little bit of work that exchanges will need to do in order to assure that the systems that are in place are going to be respected. You know what I mean? That's why, if you go to a Forex broker or they are regulated, right? And therefore, if your stop loss don't get hit, you put a claim back and you can get your money back, right? That's a process. That's the regulatory process that every broker needs to go through, right? Because that's what they sell. That's their systems. Unfortunately, with crypto, there's no regulations. There's nothing. They might do something, who knows? But then there's a lot of people that are obviously that's part of the game, right? Obviously, if you actually go through the terms and conditions in terms of what a stop looks like, they cannot actually guarantee the price that you're gonna get filled, all that sort of stuff. But that hurts a lot. So obviously, first things is that fundamentally speaking, there is a lot of fragility still in this market. Okay, a lot in terms of brokers. So from when you go into the new narrative, or the narrative that we were playing, like DeFi, all these exchanges, Asta, Hyperliquid, all those sort of stuff. Do you think that's going to be an attractive proposition for big investors to trade again on those platforms, especially after what happened? I think confidence is a little bit to the downside. Therefore, I think liquidity is not going to flow as big. That's why one of my biggest, like I've been going through possibilities, right? Let's open up the chat and let's go through this because I think it's interesting. And
put my glasses on for this bit.
let me just bring up the charts. All right. All right, you guys see my charts now?
We can, yeah. We're looking at the 1 hour.
All right, let's talk about Bitcoin let's start with the bigger picture of what could happen, right? What are the possibilities so first of all, emotions aside, what happened without shit like that, you know what I mean? Let's go, very try to be neutral in terms of reading this chart. And that's basically all we have to do, right? Because emotions don't play a part in price action. Okay, whatever happened already happened. But then price action perspective, right? What do you guys see with this? Are we still bullish? Are we still bearish? Are we starting the bear market now? Is this the top? How do you guys feel about what happened on Friday? And by looking at this chart, like this is the daily. Let's bring out the weekly because we just closed on the weekly chart, and the weekly actually gave us a little bit more perspective. So
we've climbed back into that existing range that's been going for a couple of months now, and we've also climbed into the roughly the halfway point of the range. So I would like to see on the daily this week us continue to live in the top half of this range. If I could have textbook everything I wanted, We would then get up to about 123, where you've drawn that what I would call a liquidity pool or an order block. I would like us to get a candle close, weekly candle close within that order block, so that we can perhaps set ourselves up for a retest of the old all-time highs.
Mm.
Firstly, if it goes the other way and we drop out of that range again, then I see the bottom of that big wick as if we were to close below that, right, that's it. Let's go home. So I think that we're in pretty good shape where we closed last week and the way that this candle's opened.
I agree. Like, obviously, if you see this from the weekly perspective, we do have a massive candle, massive liquidation event, massive, one of the biggest one in history, and still we haven't been able to actually break the 100,000 level. Bitcoin at 100,000 levels is still strong, okay? In my view. So here's, I'm sort of doing my thesis. As I go throughout the week, I might change it, I might not. I'm just still putting together what my thesis is all about, right? And I think is very. I'm just throwing out ideas, guys. This is nothing. Still ranging possibilities. Is still thinking how I'm going to play out things. That's kind of the main game at the moment, right? I don't have answers. I just have possibilities at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So first possibility is the V-shaped recovery, right? Like, is that we call is this going to do something like this, right? Right. So that's the
Would
first
you
possibility.
prefer a V-shaped recovery or more of a curling up action? Which would you like to see?
Man, which one would I like to see? That's a very interesting question. Honestly, how would you know that it's a big V-shaped recovery? When it closes here, when it closes here, or when it closes here?
I was thinking that trajectory of the V shape would be more to do with the amount of candles. So if we was on the daily,
Yep.
and say that V shape took a total of, say, 3 or 4 candles, like if this candle just went up over 120 now, I would look at that as like a violent V shape.
Yep.
And if it went over, say, I don't know, 8 or 9 candles, 7, 6, 7, 8 candles, and those candles were gradually getting bigger and kind of curling up.
Yep.
Because I'm under the impression, and please correct me, that the curling up is more of a how do I put it? It's more steady. It's better price action. Yeah. I've wandered into somewhere and got lost. Maurizio, save me.
That's all right, man. So, for instance, let's do this. So that's the V-shaped recovery,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my question is, how do you know it's a V shape, right? Do you know here? Do you know here? Do you know here? And my answer is, I have no fucking clue.
Yes.
Okay, that's my answer, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, giving you guys straight up because um whoever tells you otherwise, I don't know, man. I can only play by price action what I see at the moment. I cannot actually say I cannot actually see what I think it could happen. I can give you possibilities and probabilities. This is what this is what it could happen, right? But the first thing that I want to always play right now in my mind is uh this is a significant fundamental flaw in the system. Okay, significant.
Yeah.
So significant. That's kind of, this is not the real, buy the deep event, just buy here. You know what I mean? This feels different in my mind. So I'm gonna be a little bit cautious from that perspective. Okay. This is the first time that this happened in history of crypto. In history of crypto. Okay, that a lot of people got liquidated because the exchanges did not respect fucking stop losses. That's a massive flaw in the system. Okay,
Mm.
so always have that in the back of your head, right? Because obviously, probably you guys didn't get liquidated or anything like that, but big accounts, big firms got liquidated. Okay, so obviously that's something interesting. So in my view, in terms of a V-shaped recovery, I will say that it's at 20%. That's a low probability. Okay, based on just liquidity, right? So obviously, there's not a lot of liquidity in the market right now to play with. Why? Because everything got wiped out in terms of leverage. Accounts got liquidated. Unless you do have capital aside to actually deploy, then you know you wouldn't take any advantage of this whatsoever. I have a friend of mine that actually tried to buy here, right, on this candle. He couldn't. Binance did not allow him to buy.
Now, I was just going to ask, right, for
Yep.
the average man in the street, right, if I was to say to you on Monday, hey, Maurizio, the market's full of liquidity, and then Tuesday I was to say, hey, Maurizio, there's no liquidity in the market. Well, what does that actually mean for me turning up? Oh, I'm going to trade today.
So you have to be aware that big moves are going to be limited, in my opinion. Okay, so Travis put a really good BNB. Fuck everybody, yeah. BNB, Binance, all the exchanges, man, not only BNB. So if you think about it from that perspective, it was only Binance, all right. But the fact that it's pretty much all the exchanges doing the same thing is a fragility of the system. Okay, so obviously, the first thing that I will say is I would not expect big moves, right? Big moves like why? Because first of all, this happened on Friday. All the action that we had over the weekend is retail trader. The CME markets, the futures market haven't opened yet. How are going to react on what happened? Who the fuck knows? Are they going to see this as an opportunity as buy the dip, or are they going to see this as an opportunity to let's de-risk, let's see what happens, let's get the fuck out of here, right? Now, that's kind of where it's in my mind. So I need to wait until tomorrow, right? Because today the only market that is open at the moment is Sydney, right? Like these RNs, right? Exactly. So Monday in the US is going to be fucking nuts, right? It's going to be. There's going to be a lot of players trying to buy at this level, but is this level now as attractive anymore? I don't know, right? Because the attractive level to buy was this one here. Unless you have these orders in the market, you didn't get trigger. You couldn't actually do a market buy or Binance and Bybit at these levels here. I know for a fact because some friends, I asked friends, did you buy the dip? And say, no, fuck, I couldn't. You know what I mean? As simple as that, right? So unless you have these orders through, then it's tough one, right? Tough one. So obviously the V-shape possibility, I think, is quite low, in my opinion, based on the facts that I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, that's it. Number two, right? And by the way, this could change tomorrow if we start seeing a lot of liquidity coming through. Then but as of today, that's kind of my thesis. All right. Option number two, right, is the shit, sorry. Let me just delete this. All right, option number two is this, right? Ranging, fucking all over the place until the market decides what to do. The question is, are we going to retest these lows here? That's the main question. So that's option number two, which is ranging market, right? And I think I'm more inclined to that. So I will say 50%, right? We are going to be in a ranging sort of environment, right? The problem with the ranging is that you don't know what the range looks like. The range could be here or here. You don't know because you only have 2 days after the liquidation event or whatever. So you only have 2 days, and bear in mind that these 2 days are being retail trading only. So there's no big money coming through to say, okay, at what price are they willing to buy, right? At what price are they willing to actually just, step in the curve and start buying, right? So obviously I'm gonna wait a little bit until I see a little bit. If we get the V-shaped recovery, can I get, be out of the market? Yes, I can. But well, I still have my spot portfolio. I'm gonna talk about a little bit how risk management could look like now. So, and then you guys, risk management is two things. One is how do you manage your risk on your account, and two is how do you split your portfolio. But I'll explain that later. So with that being said, if that happens, then my spot portfolio is still gonna do well. So that's good. So I'm covered, right? FinRep as well might do well. So I'm covered. So that's why on the really leverage positions, things like that, I'm going to be holding a little bit more until I see more clarity from that perspective, right? And then option number 3, right, is going to be this. You run these lows, and where do you think we could go from there, right? Because if you add liquidations plus fiat plus this is going to be the maximum pain, right? And in my view, maximum pain will be around this area here, the 92. And this could be a really good place to start buying spot again heavily, right? Why? I'm still bullish in Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about alts, right? But I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin, and I keep buying. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go away. I don't think Bitcoin is going to get crashed. I think it's going to get volatile. I think we can get whipsaws, but I'm still buying Bitcoin, right, on a weekly basis. And I'm going to go through which is my DCA portfolio on top of another portfolio that I have. So obviously I'm good on that regard, right? And this option, I think, is still in the card. So in my view, like, the bunking down. So if this is 20%, this is 40. I will say this is still 30. So this is a little bit lower than this one here, based on the recovery that we had. But this recovery that we had is just pure mechanical. First of all, why mechanical? We have to understand a little bit how market makers work and how the liquidity engines work in terms of the exchanges. So whenever people get liquidated, right, essentially the market makers needs to buy that order. So that's why you get those bounces. That's why trading liquidations are really good, because you get those bounces really hard. Now, once you get the bounce, then you need to have price sustainability, right? And if we don't have price sustainability, then we more than likely either range or go below. So those are my sort of so far in terms my possibilities, right? So I'm inclined more to the range side. That could change otherwise when we start seeing different price action. So based on this, that's how I'm going to be playing the market. Okay, that's kind of at the moment, as per the information that I have in hand, how I'm going to be playing the market. Okay, if we have a look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum. Yes, you're gonna ask a question?
No, sorry, man. I made a funny noise.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Ethereum, basically, yeah, had a huge comeback, right? But still, I think the king could be Bitcoin. So majors are going to play a really good role on what happens. So the thing with Ethereum is, we all broke a structure. Technically market structure. This is a market structure that's being broken. So there's gonna be people that wants to short at this area. There's gonna be people that want to buy at this area. There's gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of fucking around, right? So I could be completely mistaken, and this could actually start recovering like this. But the fact that a lot of people got liquidated as well on Pendle, right? I'm gonna show you Pendle chart, and people that got leverage on Pendle, they had stakes on Ethereum, things like that. They got fucked as well. So a lot of people got fucked, man. That's why I mean liquidity is the liquidity is not as big as the liquidity that we need in order for us to take us to the upside and price discovery and all that sort of stuff. On top of that, right, we got that the first thing that people tend to de-risk is altcoins, right? So now let's go into altcoins, right? This is the oldest chart, okay? What do you see? This is others. So it's all alts without the top 10 market cap, right? So what do you guys see of this chart? This is the daily chart.
Well, we got a real bounce on that, didn't we?
Before the bounce, where did we hit? Like, check this out. We hit levels from August 2024.
Well, we were just stopped below that 2024 level.
Exactly.
That April level we smashed through, but we didn't. Yeah.
So you can see this as two ways. You can see as a good opportunity to buy right now, but if you didn't bought here, right, very tough for me to buy here. Let me tell you why. This, if we revisit this, that means a lot of people dump a lot of coins, man. You know what I mean? This is a massive event, and not because they wanted to, because they had to, right? In order to either sell their portfolios, or that's why I keep building in my thesis. Is this a significant event, or this is just a regular fucking that buy the dip and go all in? That's what I'm trying to build with all the data that I have in hand. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm going through this, man. So obviously now I look at alts and say, fuck, man, this is tough, man. These levels we have never been before since October 2024, man. You know what I mean? So
because we've got back like 90 billion since the bottom of that crash, which is, my math, that's about a third of the total crypto market cap that we almost lost, but then we've recovered like 90 billion like that.
In one camp, this is the significance of this event. Okay, this happened in 2 hours. That's what, like, if you go into the hourly, in 2 hours, man, 2 hours, you get a 90 billion drop, billions. It's fucked, man. You know what I mean? Like, I would be. I know someone that actually shorted this thing, and he's very happy person. And that brings me to something that I obviously been sort of avoiding for you guys as well, because probably you don't know how to short properly, right? And he's having a look at the market in both ways always. Is this going to go up? Is this going to go down? Is this a good long opportunity, or is this a short opportunity, right? Because we all bias to the upside, okay? But I'm going to start, and this is why option number 3 is range. Like option number 2 is range. We're going to range. That's kind of my take at the moment. So if we have a ranging mentality, right, we're going to buy here, we're going to sell here. There's a lot of opportunities that you do with leverage properly, right? You can actually get good risk reward. So that's kind of probably aiming towards that gain, 2 hours a week. So this is, let me just get this. Okay. So that's kind of in essence why I'm leaning towards that possibility, right? Liquidity, massive fundamental change on market participants at the moment, right? Because there is a lot of people that have no money, technically, right? And obviously, what do you need? What do you need for a bull market to thrive? Risk, right? You have people with money, risk, let's put it here, let's fucking go to the moon, things like that, right? So obviously, I think that bit fundamentally change unless we see something completely different. We see Hyperliquid coming back with big airdrops for people that got liquidated. That could happen. Asta probably doing the same thing. So start gaining the confidence of, okay, I'm okay if I get liquidated, I'm going to get an airdrop, shit like that. You know what I mean? Can that happen? Yes, definitely. Right. So, Travis, yeah, that's a big possibility. You know, Hyperlink, we got like after that dump, it was a huge short. And I think that drove the market down. That could it be him? Could it be anyone? Could it be China? Could it be anyone? You know, I mean, no one knows who it was. Obviously, is you know, we're biased towards Trump family to manipulate the fucking market. Yes, kind of, right? Is that true? Unless we know it's true, then we don't know, right? That's kind of what I like to think about. So is that BlackRock? This is some stuff like BlackRock owns like the majority of Bitcoin and then manipulate the market as their place. Can they be them? Yes, but then obviously, you know, you can go through whatever you think who it was. The only thing that you can do right now is what do you see, how you can play it, and that's it, man. You know, that's and obviously I'm going to be paying less attention to news, especially now, and I'm going to focus only on price action. Here's why. All right, that's the spiel of the fucking thing that happened.
I got one last question for you, Maurizio. You mentioned
Go for it, man.
shorting, okay? So it took me a while to wrap my head around this, right? But when you go long, your position grows. That means that you can add leverage, you can add to the position. But when you short, the position shrinks, and that makes it far more complicated with leverage and compounding. So you were saying about perhaps people don't know the correct way to take shorts. Well, I mean, the more I look at shorts, the more and more complicated they get.
They're not complicated because at the end, think about it from the perspective of a bet. You know what I mean? I'll bet you this shit goes down, right? And if you say, all right, how much you want to bet? And I'll say, I'll bet you $1,000, right? And if I'm right, then I get paid. Okay, right? You pay me. You pay me if I'm right. You pay me. Now, if I'm wrong, right, then I pay you. So what I have to do with short is when do I pay you, right? At what point I'm wrong, right? So that depends on two things. One is the stop loss that you place, number one. Number two is if you didn't place any stop loss is when you actually get liquidated, right? When you actually run out of margin to say, oh, you need to pay me, man. Like, you know, I see that you have like $10,000 on account and you owe me 1,000, but you know, you need to pay me. That's what a liquidation is. Like the broker is constantly looking at your account and say, hey man, you don't have enough money. I'm gonna liquidate you if you don't pay me. I don't have enough money. You don't have enough money, and then bang, liquidation event comes in, liquidates your account, broker gets paid, and happy days. But yeah, you end up with no money whatsoever. Okay, so that's the dynamic of a short. The same thing with leverage with a long. When you mention that the position goes shrinks, it does shrinks, but then you're making profit, right? But then you don't know, you haven't actually taken that profit yet because you haven't actually closed the position. So your margin is still live. So with shorts, that's why I love shorting, man. That's why probably we could do a class about shorting because shorts happen quick. Shorts are bang. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the best shorts are the ones that you just basically open and close. Because if you hold them for too long, you're definitely right. Position 10, there's no margin. You know, you cannot actually roll over your account.
Come along and fuck you if you hold it too long.
Depends on the funding rates. Depends. And then we'll analyze what funding rates are at the moment. So, but that's in essence what a short looks like. Okay. And why do I think we should play both ways at the moment? All right.
Swing both ways.
Now, let's talk about Bitcoin, man. Let's talk about Bitcoin. All right, man.
I love the sigh in your voice when you say Let's talk about
Yeah, man, I need to take a I need to take a breather, man, because obviously it doesn't feel right. But I need to reset myself somehow. You know what I mean? Like it's not it is what it is. I cannot actually do anything, man, about it. That to play what I see in front of me, but I need to reset myself, right? So big things that we're going to be doing for the next couple of months. The first thing right now, let's talk about before I go into the open interest, you know, all our spot portfolio, the spot portfolio that we still hold on 100x, we're going to be, I'm going to be rebalancing everything. Okay, so obviously I'm going to take the loss on a lot of stuff and I'm going to rebalance. This is a good time to reset and to take everything from zero. Let's imagine that you just started trading yesterday, because it's really tough to know what's going to happen in the future, right? So this is, man, this opportunity, like you can see it in two ways, all right? And this is kind of what you were talking about mindset. You can see it from the empty, what is it? The half, shit, the is the glass half empty or half full? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to see it from the perspective that is half full. In terms of a good mindset, this is a great opportunity. Why? Obviously, this hasn't happened ever. And because it hasn't happened ever, this is the first time that there is no leverage in the system. No leverage. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this thing that we've always done throughout the fucking, you know, year, in terms of looking at the open interest, the spot volume, is going to be very fucking profitable. Why? Tell me, give me an idea why you guys think that that's could be.
So we've currently got no leverage in the system. We're in a unique time, which we could describe as day zero starting again.
Yeah.
We're assuming, anticipating that leverage is going to come back into the system.
Yes.
And we believe that that could be very profitable because we can get positioned early.
In a way, but think about it from the perspective that I'm going with option number two. Option number two is I'm not going to think about long term.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aiming to get position on things right now. I'm aiming to trade the shit out of this thing on a range. Okay.
Right.
Why? And here's why. So this is the big. Let's talk about big win just for what it is, and let's go through the same analysis that we always do of get massive liquidation here, right? You get a spot that is been selling. Now a spot is coming back to the game, right? You can actually see it here. So a spot came back roughly here, give or take, right? That's I will not say here because obviously this is just the time, but I think you could probably say that the structure of a spot changed it here. So we have spot buyers around this level, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Around 111, okay? Now, on top of that, now you do have leverage opening up, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this would have been a really great trade. The unfortunate aspect of this is that you know, if you don't trade on a short time frame, it's going to be very tough to read. But on a short time frame, like 30 minutes or even less, that would be a really great trade. Why? You get supportive evidence of spot and you get supportive evidence of leverage. Therefore, you can easily place a trade right here, right, with a stop and validation around here, and then that's your 1 to 2 risk reward, that you risk the same amount, things like that. Obviously, I'll be doing this with less risk, but that's a trade. You close it and you're happy that you made money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, we know now that today, let's see how markets will react, right? This is a significant level here. This is when everything happened. This candle right here, if you think it from the 30 minutes perspective, you basically have to watch this level here because this is the main breakdown. This is the huge breakdown, and it's going to be a lot of resistance right there. Either we start breaking up, but if you start seeing leverage going up and markets going down, then it's going to be a lot of shorts in the market. Then if that's supported by a short sort of by a drop on the spot, then that will be a short.
Okay.
You know what I mean? As simple as that. In retrospective, right? If I go back and retrospectively speak in terms of, because that's kind of something that I'll be doing during the week, like analyzing. And that's the thing. What can we do better? What can we improve? And how I can have a better read of the market, right? I noticed a few things that I didn't pay attention before in terms of that system. And this is something that you guys probably I'll be paying closer attention now. Check this out before the dump. What was going on with Bitcoin? So you have this massive open interest going up, candle goes down, spot goes down. So that's shorting. That's a short. And obviously here, market trying to sustain, happen again in here, right? And before the huge dump, it happened again. So obviously this is something that in a low time frames is very interesting price action to pay attention with too, you know what I mean? And don't hesitate on, taking open shorts and things like that, obviously. On hindsight, anything on hindsight, you can say a lot of different things, right? On hindsight. But then obviously, is that hindsight going to be actionable in the future? Let's see. But then this is a note that I'm going to be fucking putting on my wall just so that I don't remember this pattern. Okay. That's something that I'll be doing. But yeah, so essentially that's kind of the game that I will be playing. Now, if we talk about alts, right? Where is it? Okay, alts. Okay. On alts, most of our positions are closed, technically. Even the position that we had this position, look at this, okay? This position that we took on October the 24th. We have been taking some profits. We had a remaining. Look at this week on Dodge, right? So most of our positions are closed, except in one account, the only one that I still have open is Mantle. This is the only one that has survived. And even I did have the stop loss on the break even. And the positive things is a lot of our positions, even though we didn't make money, we didn't lose because some of them got actually stopped out on the stop loss before the dump. So that was actually quite positive. You know what I mean? So obviously I'm still good on that, but everything is kind of closed, right? Some of them with the slippage, some of them not. I'll be updating the final thing. But what I want to sort of highlight is we have no positions. Basically, we're going to take everything from zero. So if you're starting from zero, I think this is a good moment to start with. However, I'll be very cautious to start getting position for a long term because we could start seeing that we might revisit at least half of the range of this gap. This is a huge gap, right? So obviously, is that going to happen? Who knows? I'm just going to wait a couple of days to see how the market really reacts, how TradeFi, like the real institutional money plays this game at the moment, because that's kind of a massive thing. Because you have to have in mind that retails, if you bought here, take some profit, you could scalp the shit out of this thing massively. We could do a lot of money, but you have to be quick and you have to be watching the market, unfortunately, on a small time frames. I don't know if you guys have the time or not. I do have the time. I'll be calling some trades, but bear in mind that some of the trades will be very, very short. So some time, short sort of time frame stuff, because I don't see any good positions on some alts. Now, what are the alts that I'll be rebalancing? Okay, so this is something important because I'll be rebalancing the whole spot portfolio, but I'm going to keep some of the spot, and I'm going to leave at least 50% of my stables, right, of stable coins to be deployed on whatever happens. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm going to be taking some losses on a lot of them, but I'm going to be repositioned on this is a few things that I really like. So definitely hype. Hype is going to be part of my portfolio, which I still hold a lot of hype. But I think I'm going to be adding on hype, even though despite what happens, even though despite the fucking Hyperliquid fuck everybody, everybody got fucked on Hyperliquid. There is a high chance that people will get back that money on airdrops. That happened before. You know what I mean? Like people that actually got they get points because they got volume, then obviously that might happen. So that's a possibility. And still is one of the strongest things out there in terms of DeFi. So I'll be playing this one, right? Another one that I'm looking at is Binance, so BNB. I'm talking a spot, right? Let's talk about spot. So BNB was still positioned, right? This is the one, like we positioned this one here. This came back quite quickly, right? So I'll be holding this one. Whatever amount of spot we have, we're going to be holding this one, right? And so this one came back hugely. Is this going to be a breakout? Or this is a very interesting price action, man. After what happened, like everybody wanted to buy this one and they got it. So the best price that you can actually get on fucking Binance. So I do like to see this. This is the type of patterns that I'm looking into get into a spot. Why? Because right, uh, you see that people wants to buy these. You see that there is demand for these things despite of, for instance, let's talk about Filecoin. Fortunately, fucking Filecoin, there's no demand for fucking Filecoin, right?
Mm.
Grass, fucking no demand for grass. Fucking Pepe, so those are the things that I'll be shifting to in terms of my spot portfolio. So we do hold Pepe and we do hold a lot of shit in the spot portfolio, despite of like, and you do want to do that when the market are risky because they want everything is gonna go up. But the fact that Pepe, man, fucking Pepe, on the day it dropped 70%, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people are just going to get positioned in strong stuff first, and then when the strong first comes in, then all risk assets are going to start appreciate. So obviously that's going to be the mindset in terms of all that is going to be a huge cleanup this week in terms of spots. But I'm gonna let you know what I still hold and I'm not going to sell. So that's going to be the main majors, right? In terms of DeFi, I'm thinking about Asta. Maybe could be a really good opportunity to start like holding. If Asta is BNB baby, this is the only like strong competitor for Hyperliquid. So even though it's risky, I think yeah. So James, obviously Link, Avax, Dodge, Pepe for altcoins. Obviously I'm gonna be staying away for those ones yet. I'm just going to be looking at very selective ones, right? Um, the other one as well that I want to keep or maybe add on a spot is Arrow as a gateway for even though it doesn't look as great, even the fundamentals of this one are great. So those are the type of sort of coins that I'll be holding on the spot, at least for now. You know what I mean? Because on a dip, like think about it from the perspective that yeah, everything looks fucking great to buy right now, but if Bitcoin decides to keep going down, what do you think is going to happen with Pepe, with all those riskier assets? Let's take for instance Pepe, right? Fucking Pepe. If Pepe hasn't recovered, if Bitcoin comes down, what do you think Pepe will do? Do you think Pepe is going to go to the moon? I
I
don't
think it'll
fucking
wilt
think
and
so, man.
die.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So I think this is a really good time to reset portfolios, to re-leverage, to reset everything, and start thinking from a different perspective. That's kind of my take at the moment, right? So obviously, by the way, we've been working on a very good way to actually start giving you guys the trades, and that's going to help with the small time frame trades. So I think probably in the next 2 weeks we will be revealing that to you. So we'll be working on that for the past month, and I think this is the right time. So I think it's a really good reset for everything, and I think I'm going to remain positive on things that we can do. But the only thing that you need to understand is, I think shorting comes to the play right now. Like long and short, you cannot only see one direction. That's kind of the take that I'm seeing at the moment. That's kind of the what I'm looking at, right? Are you there? Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, sorry,
All
man.
right, sorry. So yeah, despite of what it fucking hurts, and I say that because it does hurt. I got hit. Everybody got hit. Emotionally, everybody's weak at the moment. Even though there's opportunities, I still think that you should buy Bitcoin, not go all in. Oh, do we still have time? Let's do 10 more minutes if you guys are okay, because I do want to speak about a portfolio risk management. Are you okay, Ian?
Yeah, let's
Or
do it. Let's
all
do it.
right. So one thing that probably, let me just move this. One thing that you might think of is how do you split your portfolio? Very important, right? So, and this is something that's what I'm saying at the moment, right? Even though we had a loss, right? You know, you split your money across different buckets, right? And we do have different opportunities. So you have the spot portfolio, right? Things that you buy. You do have leverage portfolio, things that you trade, and you have other risk assets, right? Like really risky shit. So how do you split your money? So let's say you have, and I have FinRev, right? So FinRev is right here, which by the way, FinRev is doing amazing. And why FinRev is doing amazing? Because FinRev doesn't use any stop loss. FinRep hedges by longs and shorts, by weakness and strength, and it's an amazing system, man. So I cannot, you know what I mean? Like this is so obviously you do whatever you do there, you do not want to put all the eggs in one basket, right? In terms of all your net worth or all your capital or or doing that sort of stuff. So um essentially you want to split whatever makes you more comfortable. So if you do have $10,000 or $50,000 that you want to invest in crypto, you want to make sure that you split that. Let's talk about $10,000. Depends on your skill. So $10,000, you might put 50% on spot. So now you have 5,000 here to invest on spot coins, right? So that's your capital for the spot. Then you allocate probably $1,000, right, on risk assets, right? So if you lose this, you'll still be alive. If you have a hit here, maybe you have a hit here, whatever. Maybe you want to put $3,000 here on leverage, right, and trade this, right? And maybe you want to do the rest on FinRev. So whatever, but you do want to sort of have this management, okay? Now, in terms of a spot, right? Then something that I do is I do something that's called DCA, right? And I do have a portion of my portfolio of spot, right? That I keep buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, right? On a regular basis, every fucking week, no matter what, right? And those are the things that you need to do with assets that you do have confidence on. At least I know that Ethereum is not going to go away, Bitcoin is not going to go away, and Solana is a highly unlikely event Unfortunately, I'm not doing that on BNB. I should have done that in BNB. I didn't have any trust on BNB at the time, but now there's stuff that you could do. So you can allocate a portion of your spot, right, to do that sort of stuff. So you can allocate 10%, 20%, and trade the rest. Or if you are more sensitive to risk, out of these 5,000, you leave $5,000, right, to do spot trading, which is the stuff that we do in a 100x club and hold and things like that. And then you do the DCA, but this is basically depends of your portfolio, how much money you have, how much risk you want to have. Now, this is for a sustainable portfolio. If you're building your account, right, and you only have a small amount of money, I think you might do a little bit better with leverage, but that depends on what's your income. So if you do have a good income and then you can afford a lose that you're losing $5,000 or $10,000 at some point, then you do it, because this leverage stuff is the one that it could give you the source to actually put in a spot and create your portfolio. So this is just an idea, right? But this depends obviously on that. But you should have a formula. You should have your own risk management. Besides the stop losses that we do on the leverage side of things, you should have a split portfolio across your assets and whatever amount you're comfortable putting in crypto fully. And still have in mind that this is crypto, highly volatile. So whatever you have here in the main, you're going to be comfortable with if you have a drawdown on 10, 50, 70% of this thing, okay? And then it'll keep you sane, man. Okay, so this is something important especially for new people that tend to put everything on leverage. But bear in mind, you could, despite the fact that you if you lose this, you'll be okay. You will be able to still eat, pay rent, whatever, you know what I mean? So that's kind of a really good structure in terms of what I use at the moment, okay? This is kind of a dumbed down version of my full portfolio, okay? So yeah. I think, man, that's it. I don't know, probably if you guys have any questions, and then, any last questions, and then we can just call it a day, man. But yeah.
So in one sentence, Maurizio, what should people be doing this week? Is it hands off the wheel?
I think hands on the wheel, at least for today and tomorrow. Why? Because obviously we're going to wait how the market reacts, right? We still have this gap of Bitcoin to be filled on the main markets. So I don't know how the market's going to react. To kind of reset your mindset and start sort of looking at new opportunities right now. And then probably in terms of leverage, if you're going to trade leverage, probably start learning how to short, because we'll be doing both situations. That's it, man. But take it really easy. Probably you're going to play some trades, or you're going to buy stuff, buy small. Don't buy all in, don't go all in. Especially if you didn't buy all in on that week down, don't do it now. You know what I mean? That's because we could revisit that level as well. That's it.
All right, that was a fantastic call. Thank you, everybody. See you in the
All right,
group.
guys.
Cheers,
See ya.
Maurizio.
Bye-bye.